Hey guys, it's Lunar Chewy here, also known as Mossman, and today I wanted to cover some PvE content and provide a tier list. One thing that I kind of enjoy doing in E7 is whenever I'm in need of charms, gold, stigma, and want to friendship farm units all at the same time. I like farming the End Side Story, Eulogy of a Saint, or Unrecorded History. And you can even get a lot of catalyst from it since you get the AP. So I just kind of wanted to show some of the units that I think are pretty useful for farming that content. I think above all else, what I value is heroes that can do a lot of AoE damage and basically are able to clear waves by themselves. And so let's just get right into it. So I have RB or Arbiter Filtred at the top because this unit does a massive amount of damage. He does self attack buff, S3. It can definitely wipe every wave, and the animation is also very fast. I think that makes him by far like above all else the best farmer for adventure slash side story content. Is his S3 animation is very fast. There's no animation on it, until he uses obviously the full focus S3. Um, but yeah, he has self attack buff. It is a really fast animation. It clears the entire wave with a lot of AoE damage, and also if for some reason he dies, he revives. So that's really useful. In the next tier, I have Freerin. She has a lot of AoE, although compared to RB, after she uses her S3, which has an animation, the S1 AoE is not AoE until after she's procced the first time, so there's definitely a bit of a delay in her overall animations and speed compared to RB. But she's still quite solid. She does a lot of damage. She has a attack buff on her S3, and also she doesn't take any damage because you have book on her, and the enemy's not really going to take your souls. Um, I have Vildred here, the RGB version. He also is kind of like RB in that he does a lot of AoE damage, but unfortunately his uh, S1 is two targets, and he doesn't get the free recharge on his S3, unlike RB, who can just keep spamming it on the waves. Plus, I find Vildred's S3 animation a little long, but that's fine. And then I have BBK in the tier. Honestly, she could arguably be a bit lower than these two, but her S3 does a lot of damage, and it's a pretty short cooldown. It's AoE. The downside of her is that her S1 is completely single target, but she does have a lot of innate sustain from her kit, which Vildred doesn't have. So you can kind of argue that Vildred and BBK are both around the same place, but definitely lower than Freerin. And then in the next tier, I have Sez, who, I started off playing E7. Sez was my dog walker and adventure farmer. He has the AoE on his S2, but I don't really think he is quite as fast, unfortunately, as the heroes above him. I also have Wukong, who does have the AoE on his S1, and then Landy has the AoE on her S3, and then Green Bologna also has the AoE on her S2, as well as when she procs for her S3. And then I have Tieria in the new player tier. New players receive her when they start the game, and she's able to do a decent enough job of farming adventure and adjacent related content. And then finally, I have two heroes in the flex tier. If for some reason I want runs to be a bit faster, then I'll throw one of these two. Cavill basically, if for some reason RB is able to one-shot a wave, then the Cavill can proc the S2 to finish everything off. And then Flan I actually like using in like the most recent episode content because she has the evasion, so she has survivability, and she's able to S1 with attack buff to do a good amount of single target damage every time one of your other heroes on your team S1. So I kind of actually like using her in like Spirit Altar and stuff like that, or just some sort of adventure content where it's not really easy to one shot something. So she's pretty useful there. But that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope everyone farms to their heart's desire.